आ जाओ, see how it goes. Editing तो बाद में भी हो जाएगी.
Okay.
So good evening, Sachin bhai.
Hi.
Welcome to Ashish Pasi show. I think that's what I should call it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's keep it nice and simple,
Yeah.
right? So, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself? So, what do you do in real life in terms of work? आप क्या करते हो, business और जो भी आप करते हो, आप just give us a brief introduction of that.
Okay. So we're basically manufacturers of recycled wool products.
Yeah.
We get old clothes and which are thrown away in the West
Okay.
or the developed nations. Get them, sort them to different grades, recycle them, make yarn, fabrics, blankets out of these recycled materials.
You're the green man. You're recycling the earth.
So we've been recycling since 1957.
That's
yes,
awesome.
It's been a long time.
So you had this thing, you knew this, that Earth's gonna need recycling beforehand?
Well,
Did it just make business sense to do it?
it all, this business of recycling was started out in the UK,
Okay.
in Bradford,
Okay.
and eventually moved to Italy and then to India.
Wow.
And we've been following that since 1957.
That's really interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so आज हम यहाँ पे हैं not for recycling, but we all in for that. We are always in for recycling. But because you are a tech enthusiast and so am I, and I'm a firm believer that technology is the way forward in business, right?
Absolutely.
हम उसको ignore नहीं कर सकते, right, at this juncture. It's like in every part of our lives. It is ruling every part of our lives and we cannot ignore that.
Yeah.
So we are here to talk about technology today and how can we use it to make our lives and businesses better. And this is a very informal conversation because we keep meeting every morning.
Yeah.
Earlier हम काफ़ी frequently मिल रहे थे and अभी हम non-frequent हो गए. That's a separate
Because
story.
you aren't coming cycling.
Yeah, I know. So, but whenever we meet, we end up talking about Bitcoin, we end up talking about technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a common passion between both of us. So I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
And I know that you've been a teacher in your past life.
Yes. Not in past life. In this life.
Yeah, I mean before you were, before you formally
That was
joined.
my first job.
Yeah, before you joined your business.
That was my first summer job. It was grade 11. My mom and
Which year
sister,
was
they
it?
were coming down.
Sorry,
so
yeah.
this is 91. When computer systems were just coming in. People like the banks and stockbrokers, they were getting used to using technology, computers. I was in grade 11, it was a summer holiday, and I said I'm not coming to Amritsar. I stayed back in Coimbatore.
Okay, so that's where you were brought up.
And started teaching, and some of my first students were bankers. One of them was a stockbroker who was my mom's friend. So I was teaching her. She's my mom's friend. She's a stockbroker, and I'm teaching her how to use a computer. So yeah, it was quite interesting for me. I stayed back and I really was passionate for. It all started with my friend getting a ZX Spectrum Sinclair computer.
Awesome.
And we wanted to create games. We didn't want to play the games. So it's seriously all, if you look at all the friends, at my age, they all had a Nintendo or a Atari. I didn't want to have a Nintendo or an Atari. I wanted to create those games. I wanted to, so both of us wanted to create some software, games, and stuff like that. And sadly, I didn't take it so seriously. I thought it was just a hobby, and I gave it up and got into regular business, of recycling. But have been using whatever tech handles that I had or knowledge to help me manage the business. Yeah.
No, the most interesting part is when I was in school during 98, 99 mein, I think I was in 11th or 12th, and the concept of summer jobs was not apparent at that time, at that age. In those days back in India.
No,
it wasn't.
Not at all.
So 91 is another almost a decade back, और आपने summer job किया.
Yeah.
So that's really piquing my interest, right? आज की date में भी my child is not talking about taking up a summer job after doing his class 10th, or I don't listen to much. I don't hear from coming this conversation from many young students कि हमको summer job करनी है, internship करनी है, कि मेरे को ये सीखना है. I'm passionate about, I don't even politics or for that matter, कि मेरे को उसके साथ काम करना है just to learn this trade, or I'll go do it for free or do it for money or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't hear this conversation from children even in this day and age.
Yeah.
Which I find really, I think that is one of the key that is missing.
So what we think, or in India, our education is so theory oriented or book oriented. We don't like to use practical applications, and if that interest is kindled in kids, what are the practical applications of this?
Exactly.
To make it interesting, in chemistry, you could be talking about, how you can find out how many molecules of a particular atom are there in a certain weight based on the molecular weight. Make it more interesting that, hey, look here, if you have this liquid, there are so many molecules of this, and maybe if you want to react it with something else, there are so many molecules of that. Practical applications, real life applications, which we make it so dull that
no kid enjoys it really. So I tell you an example. A few days back, I was talking to a guest at my house, and my son was sitting with me, and उनसे बात कर रहा था. So he said कि मेरे को गेस्ट मुझे बोल रहे हैं कि history is very boring. I used to find it so boring during my school days. I was like, history is never about dates. Right? Because अगर हम history को dates की तरह देखेंगे, it doesn't mean anything really, and dates nobody is going to ask you about dates. But अगर आप history को देखो, history repeats itself. It shows you patterns. कि आज से 50 साल पहले there was similar scenario. A political upheaval was there in the country, जहाँ पे ruling state को probably was overthrown due to these circumstances which are building up again 50 years or 100 years down the line, and they're repeating their cycles, and then you can probably, your judgment will be better based on on those historical facts. So history is more important along those terms. Not it doesn't really matter who crammed the dates better. So history should be seen through that lens. So my son really found that fascinating. उसको बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग लगा. कहता पापा इस तरह से हिस्ट्री देखने को ज़्यादा मज़ेदार लग रही है. हिस्ट्री मेरे को ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट लग रही है कि हाँ इस तरह से मैं पढ़ूंगा तो शायद ज़्यादा मज़ा आएगा मेरे को. रादर देन लुकिंग एट इट एंड थिंकिंग यार ये डेट्स ऐसे, ये इस डेट को ये मरा था, ये जिया था. That is not relevant.
That is not relevant.
The only relevance for those dates is कि हाँ this cycle repeats itself after 25 years. This cycle repeats itself after 50 years. Gold prices were high 25 years back because of this reason, and after another 25 years they will rise again, or a pattern like this. That is the only importance of these dates, and that's the history. And as far as your chemical bit is going on, I think for real life chemistry situations, we can teach children how to make detergent at home, how you can make shampoo using your basic chemicals in your kitchen,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, which will probably, they can grow into having some cosmetic business in the future, or things like that.
Yeah, I think right now, as a tech enthusiast, what drives my interest is always energy and how chemicals could be used to make good storage mediums, batteries.
Batteries are
which
all the rage these days.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's really sad that schools I don't see children thinking about real life applications or getting excited about their work. They see it so monotonous, through a monotonous lens. Ki I have to cram the dates, I have to get the marks. I think that needs an overhaul in our education system. No wonder kids run away to other countries and not stay here despite being such a big market these days.
No, but I think things are changing. India is definitely on the rise.
That's true.
I
completely agree with
kids who want to come back now to India, even though sadly we don't have the top end education here. They do go out for that, but a lot of them are coming back, are seeing more opportunities back in India than the West.
That's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. I think again coming back to technology, because हम लोग implement कर पाए थे आधार कार्ड, we've implemented UPI payment system. I think those two are major drivers for our economy.
Absolutely. UPI has changed the way we work. I'll give you an example. A friend of ours, who's got a paint shop. He used to have so much of cash sale every day that end of the week he would settle his painters from the inwards of cash receipts. And I just happened to be talking to him, and he said that now, strangely, there are more number of people wanting to pay by UPI. So he says, look here, now end of the week when my painter comes to me, oh sir, वहाँ पर वो काम किया, वहाँ पर वो काम किया, इसका इतना पैसा हुआ. He says, I don't even have enough money
to pay him in cash.
I have to withdraw cash and pay him. So I told him, look here, why don't you pay him by UPI instead of withdrawing cash? So it's becoming a cashless economy. It's really helping. In fact, it's helping grow small businesses. There are no longer people saying, oh, I don't have the money, can I take it later? Or, if they want to, there is a way. Even if they don't have the UPI on them, they could call up someone back and say, okay, look here, this is the UPI number, can you just transfer this money? And the best part in the Indian UPI system, unlike any other transfer system worldwide, is that it is instantaneous. It's that very second. It's your account is debited, the other account is credited. It is phenomenal. It is phenomenal at the pace at which it is doing. And I think it's a huge challenge for the West, where they were using, Visa and MasterCard and Amex. It's a big challenge for them. I'm sure there will be soon a credit card or a card based on UPI.
There is actually.
Which one?
I think different banks are coming out with UPI based credit cards, so you can pay via QR code with your credit card at the back.
So
they are being issued right now, and a lot of merchants are accepting them.
That's phenomenal. So once that happens,
I think another great thing with this UPI and Aadhaar is that a lot of people are in official banking system, and they can avail easy credit facility at a lower interest rate as compared to the unorganized sector, where credit was hard to come by, where you had to pay unreasonable amounts of interest on your amounts.
So the classic example of what you're talking is Bharat Pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they basically set up this QR code system, and you could pay and receive money,
Yeah.
and they exactly knew which shopkeeper is receiving what kind of fund flows, and in case he needed a short-term borrowing, that information was sold to people who were willing to lend it to them, without all the the hassle of going through the regular banking channel, at a slightly higher rate of interest. But surely this guy is receiving enough money, so he's going to pay it up, because that this is the cash flow of this guy.
है कि हर हफ्ते की सेल इतनी है, so हफ्ता या 15 दिन के बाद तो इसके पास इतना कैश होगा ही कि he can service my loan. So all those NBFCs and all those small banks, they are lining up outside these shopkeepers to give them a proper loan.
Absolutely.
In a formal economy.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they have to go to some informal guy who will charge them, I don't know, unreasonable amounts of interest rates and make the whole transaction unviable.
Yeah.
Because वो afford ही नहीं कर पाएगा उसका whole, because profit margin will be wiped out because of that. Yeah. So coming back to the, I think education system needs an overhaul. जहाँ पे I think class 10th or class 12th, it should be mandatory for all children to do a summer job of their choice.
Yeah. So. One of our friends' son had gone to Canada, and that's the first time I heard of the Canadian co-op system, where the kids who are in the university can do jobs in whatever subject they are learning in the university during the summer. And they get credits for that as well.
Okay.
And it gains, it drives some sort of enthusiasm in the kids. Whether do they want to take up more in this subject? Do they want to learn more? Would they like to develop something in this field? Maybe the kid goes with interest in computer science, but wants to take up mechanical engineering after that, based on what he's learning or doing over there. So I think the takeaway from this is that child gets to explore their whatever they've learned in the class. They can actually explore the application of that. Yeah,
I think ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, because lot of children, as I said, my son found history very boring and he was like, ये dates क्यों याद कर रहे हैं हम? What's the point of doing it? But suddenly after hearing me talking about history like this, he was like, this sounds better.
Yeah.
कि इसका कुछ मतलब है. This is why we are doing history. This is why we are talking about chemistry. I mean, मेरे को वैलेंसी क्यों याद पता होना चाहिए कि इसका why should I learn about a chemical equation कि ये balance होती है? Why do I need to do that?
It's basically times have changed. Again, it's all driven by technology. The kind of information overload, in case you want to learn. You can learn on any topic, go up on YouTube or go to Khan Academy, or there are so many websites. You can learn on any particular topic, on how to master that, or what are the nitty-gritties of that particular topic.
So this reminds me of a tweet. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's by Naval Ravikant, a very popular guy on Twitter. He's a tech investor, he's a VC as well.
Okay.
So he said, it's not the knowledge that is scarce, it's the desire to learn that is scarce.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So knowledge is abundant. I mean, there are people on YouTube who are like the dons of their trade, and they're giving out free information how to do this. So if you want to make an electric vehicle, you can actually assemble your own car. Literally. I mean, there's a full how to given on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you want to fix your iPhone, there are tons of channels telling you how to what tools, screws you need, what screwdrivers you will need, what tools you will need, and what you need to do.
It's your enthusiasm and willingness to do it.
That's it. सिर्फ वही कमी है. करने की चाहत की कमी है. I think that's the only thing holding people back.
Yeah.
So what else have you come across in technology which you find very interesting and you think is going to be the next new trend?
What I've come across of late is a technology called the nanodiamond technology.
Okay.
It's a nanodiamond based battery. It's basically spent nuclear fuel.
Wow.
That is used. As it is decaying, it is giving away energy. And they are somehow harnessing that energy, and they're able to make a battery that will last maybe 50 years in a car. So you get an electric vehicle and you don't need to recharge it for 50 years.
चलाते जाओ.
You get a phone and you don't need to recharge it for the next 200 years. So that is definitely very, very interesting.
Okay. So ये ऐसा हो गया, fill it, shut it, forget it को एक नया मतलब देगा.
बिल्कुल. You just buy it and
चलाते रहो.
Just चलाते रहो. Yeah.
So but nano diamond is very funky term. But don't you think spent nuclear poses some kind of health risk, or somebody gets angry at his neighbor and उसकी गाड़ी में जाके गाड़ी मार दी मैंने?
No. So these are very, very small quantities. They're talking about minuscule quantities.
Okay.
You can't possibly blow up. No, you can't. Because it's spent nuclear fuel in extremely low quantities, which they're talking about. I don't know the nitty-gritties of it, though.
Very interesting.
But it seems very interesting. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I hope they look after this security thing.
Yeah. The other trend that I was looking at is of Elon Musk talking about the next, coming generations to be generations of abundance, with robos helping in manufacturing. To make something that you want is going to become much, much easier, much faster, more accurate. So things will be there around. It will be like the Tesla cars are now all made by robots. They don't have as many people as Ford used to.
Robotic.
It's all robotic. It might not be the perfect finish like a Rolls Royce, but hey, it works. It works. It just works. And that's what you need. You need something that works, and
So I think what you're talking about, it's not digression, but I've heard about a company on one of the podcasts I was listening to. I'll put it on the show notes. So that guy is developing humanoid robots, which are going to be working in the warehouses, as you said.
Yeah.
So that guy, I think he's 25 years old. That guy, that person.
Yeah.
Or 30 or whatever. But he's building robots, and he said we've spoken to our probable customers, which are warehouse owners like Amazon, or Costco, people like that, and they said if you have a worker like that, a robo worker like that, here's an order for 1 million robots right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
The market is so big, one thing. That's one digression, that not just Elon Musk is going in that direction.
It's not like that. It's take the example of us. I brought it down to what we do. We are doing, we get old clothes, we sort them, and then we recycle them. And we do that, on an 8-hour shift. Come in the morning, start the sorting, have a lunch break, 5:30 in the evening,
finish your
things
shift
shut
and you
down,
go home.
and that's it. Well, if you had a robo, you could give it 20 tons of material and
Keep
say,
sorting.
sort it, and it'll sort through the night, through the day, on a Sunday, on a 15th August,
24/7.
you know, and have your job ready for you,
Yeah.
which is phenomenal.
Which is phenomenal.
You know.
And another thing, again, Elon Musk was talking about, I heard a TED talk about it today. The world population is on the decline. And
Do you think so? In India?
and the TED speaker, I don't remember her name, but again, try and put it in the show notes. She said, India, which is like the shining star right now, the growth of population has peaked in 2017.
Yeah.
So the overall population is increasing, but the rate of growth
Is now going
is
to
on the
reduce.
decline.
Yeah.
So don't think even we are on the rise.
Yeah.
So the only and the fertility rates in the Western world or in the developed nations is going down, and if it keeps going down at the current rate, that is right, and if it goes higher, that's a different story. But if it keeps going down at the current rates, by 2030 or 2040, they're going to see a massive decrease in their population, especially in the younger segment, and they're going to see much more aged people in their population.
Yeah.
And Europe is already struggling with their pension systems because of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Then
is one thing.
we do hope the age of abundance comes up fast. Quickly.
And the robots as well, so that we can be more efficient and more self-sustainable.
Yeah.
Because there won't be many children to help us through our geriatric age.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I mean, and I had another podcast, and this lady, she's called Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. You must have heard about her,
absolutely.
right? Owner of Biocon.
Biocon.
And she told in that episode that she was at some conference where her Chinese counterpart was sitting with her, and so they were asked towards the end of the conversation. She was asked that if you had to take one thing from China, what will you take from there? She said development. And then when her Chinese counterpart was asked, what will you take from India? She said people. Because
Freedom.
maybe, yeah. But a lot of people on the top or who are think tanks, they are foreseeing the future where there is going to be a dearth of actual people, and because the fertility rates, people's ability to produce more children are going to go down.
Yeah.
Their desire to produce more children are going to go down, and that trend is not going to reverse soon.
Yeah.
So, as in the TED talk, she was saying, Africa is one place
Which is going to grow.
which still has the potential in terms of fertility rates.
Absolutely.
So, the world as a whole, because we are globalized world right now, we should look at Africa for people's I don't know, as an asset.
I still think India is a large asset.
Definitely.
It's not. You can't write off India.
No, she's not writing it off, but just saying that it's on that trajectory, as you said, with robots and all that. People are already trying to foresee the future, that all these mechanical robots or humanoids will be required. They will be a part of our daily lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really interesting. Abhin. So Sachin bhai, I think we will put an end to this episode here, and if people want to talk to you or send you an email or catch you on the socials, what is the best way to do that?
Sachin Khanna is at gmail.com.
Don't give your email ID. I'll rephrase that question. So Sachin bhai, if people want to follow you on the socials, what is the best place? Is it Facebook or Twitter?
I'm not really on
Any?
I'm not so active on
Social media.
social media. Not really. I am on Twitter.
So
Sachin_Khanna.
that's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah. So send him a message if you want to know anything more about him,
Yeah.
or you want to talk to him about anything. Good day to everyone.
Good
Bye
day.
bye.